live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentary on the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. First, the headlines. River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara preaches peace. Governor Umba signs new master plan bills into law. FG set up police data centers to tackle insecurity. Nigeria, Qatar sign agreement on education, solid minerals. Shehbaz Sharif is second-term Prime Minister of Pakistan. Dream FC boss hopeful against Rivers United. Jide Kosoko postpones 70th birthday celebration over hardship. Now to news in details. River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has commended the people of the state for making tenable sacrifices and commitment to support his administration. The governor, who disclosed this at the special event organized by the Okrika Council of Chiefs and the people of Okrika to honor the Amayanabo of Okochiri Kingdom, King Ateketom, at the Okrika National School Field, when the King of Okochiri Kingdom, King Ateketom, was bestowed with the honor of Bese Poku by the apex body of traditional rulers and the people of Okrika. Fubara advised the people to love their state and have value for the state, adding that whatever achievements that has been recorded by the previous administration must be sustained towards the path of peace. Air operations conducted by personnel of the Nigerian Air Force have led to the destruction of 4 illegal oil refining sites in River State. The illegal oil refining sites located at Krakama and Temakri in the Degima local government area of Rivers were said to be active. The sites located at Abise and Omama were abandoned, while a statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Edward Gabquet, Cotonou boats were at the active illegal refining sites to load crude oil. Gabquet said the sites and boats were bombed during the operations conducted March 1st and vowed that the service, in collaboration with other security agencies, would not continue the onslaught on oil thieves until the scourge is eradicated. The Air Force operations at the Krakama and Temakririn illegal refining sites in the Degema local government area of Rivers State came 2 months after a similar operation was carried out at the Opo Aragbana area of the same LGA in December 2023. And during the operation, 6 illegal oil refining sites were destroyed. Delta State Governor Sheriff Oberewari has called for unity following the expiration of the tenure of local government council chairman on March 8, stressing that elections into the local government councils will be held soon. Oberewari, who stated this at the People's Democratic Party stakeholders meeting at the Government House Asaba, said the local government council chairman will exit this coming week for the conduct of elections into the local government councils. Speaking at the event in their separate remarks, former governors of the state, Dr. Emmanuel Udogan and Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, urged leaders of the party to continue to work in one accord for the sustainable victory of the party in subsequent elections. Residents of Okoro, Utip, and Akwa Ibom community have continued to agonize over the endless devastating effect of oil exploration in the area. The people have over the years lamented the negative impact of oil exploration and spills due to the activities of the multinational oil company ExxonMobil in their local government Ibeno. The incessant oil spills and gas flares had no doubt affected their terrestrial and aquatic agriculture, as well as the environment, as no meaningful yield is witnessed at every harvest season. Pastor Abasi Ubong John, a resident of Okoro Tip, said that cassava stems planted over 1 year ago oil were yet to bear tubers, another farmer and women leader in Upenekan community, Rhoda Peters, on her part said despite applying fertilizers to her crops, the yields were always heartbreaking due to the texture of the soil, which has been impacted by oil spills. She also said the development had caused food scarcity and hunger in the community, which made the prices of few available foodstuff to be jerked up. Chief Philip Atanwa, chairman Okoro Tip Village Council, has attributed the poor yield and persistent erosion in his community to the activities of oil companies in Ibeno, adding that before the entrance of the oil companies, the farm produced and aquatic animals from the community were the cynosure of all eyes due to their natural heritage, and expressed hope that things would change for better soon following the training of our community received on agroecology. Governor of Enugu State, Peter Umba, has signed the new Enugu City Development Agency Bill, Enugu State Geographical Information System Service Bill, and Enugu State Independence Electoral Commission Amendment Bill into law. Umba, who signed the bill in the presence of the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Uchenna Ugu, at the Government House, said the new Enugu City Development Agency law had an administrative authority to manage the development of a new city master plan that would cater for the present and future generations, adding that Enugu State's Geographical Information System Service Law was for the automation and digitalization of every processes for service delivery, starting with lands. A statement issued by his media office, Enugu is gradually getting to an implosion level, also commended the House of Assembly for their support for his administration's development. People of Ndiazeim Autonomous Community in Easy Local Government Area of Ebonyi State have elected a retired police officer, Chief John Nwakwa Nwofoke Oda, as their traditional ruler. Chief Oda, who served as and retired as a sergeant in the Nigeria Police Force, is now the Eze-elect Nwofo 111 of Ndiebo Ishiagu in Ndiaze Iyimegu Autonomous Community. Speaking after his election, he commended other aspirants for dropping their ambitions to support him in the interest of peace and development of the country. The newly elected traditional ruler pledged fairness and balance in managing affairs between traditional worshippers and Christians, and attributed the increase in food insecurity in the southeast to communication gap between real farmers and politicians, adding that most incentives made for farmers ended in the hands of politicians who sell them to business owners for money. The traditional ruler appealed to the federal and state governments for the early release of farm inputs and other necessary incentives to enable farmers commence work, and emphasized on the need for youth empowerment, blamed insecurity in the country on politicians not settling their voice after using them to win elections. Justices D.N.D. Diperlu and N. Ogazi of the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos have convicted and sentenced two internet fraudsters, Oluwafemi Abdullah Wahid Rasak and Chris Onabulu, to various jail terms involving romance, scam, and impersonation. They were jailed after pleading guilty to one-count separate charges bordering on cybercrimes upon being arraigned by the Lagos Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. However, defense counsel Kukel George prayed the court for a non-custodial sentence like community service to be served within the EFCC to enable him change from his ways and still be a useful citizen to the nation, while Justice Diperlu convicted and sentenced Rasak to 4 weeks of community service with the EFCC, where he is to be consoled and assisted on how to refrain from a life of crime. He was also ordered to forfeit the federal government of Nigeria items recovered from him, including a manager's check, while 3 and Justice Ogazi also convicted and sentenced Onabulu to 6-month imprisonment. The court also ordered that the items recovered from him be forfeited to the federal government of Nigeria. The two convicts bagged their imprisonment when they were arrested by operatives of the Lagos Zonal Command of the EFCC for internet-related crimes and were investigated, charged to court, and convicted. All Progressives Congress, APC in Oyo State, says it will withdraw its candidates in the forthcoming local government election in the state if the electoral body failed to use bimodal voter accreditation system for the poll. Oyo State Independent Electoral Commission has fixed Saturday, 27 April 2024 as the date for the local government election in the state, and the election is to be conducted in all the 33 local government areas. A statement signed by its publicity secretary, Waisu Olawale Sadere, expressed concerns over what it described as a game of deceit being played by OISEC, and alleged that the APC has observed that the chairman of the Electoral Commission may not be able to be fair to all parties contesting the election. The party stressed that it would not be a party to any sham or charade. Chieftain of All Progressives Congress, Olatunbosun Oyetiloye, has advised state governors and senior civil servants to give maximum support to President Bola Tinubu in his efforts to fix Nigeria's economy and avoid acts of sabotage. A statement issued by Olatunbosun Oyetiloye in Osun State said it was not possible for the president alone to achieve his renewed hope agenda for the people without the support of governors and top civil servants, and insisted that the governors needed to support the various initiatives of the president in fixing their economy by utilizing their monthly allocation for poverty alleviation in their various states. The APC chieftain said the various efforts of the president in fixing the economy may not be immediately visible to many Nigerians if the state governors refuse to utilize their monthly allocation for the benefit of the masses in their states. He also said the senior civil and permanent secretaries must not allow unnecessary bureaucracy to undermine the efforts of the president in fixing the economy, and appealed to the masses to be patient with the president, adding that with all the various interventions the president is putting in place, the country will soon attain the height of desired greatness. Vice President Kashim Shettima will declare open the expanded National Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Business Clinics in Abeokuta, Ogun State on Tuesday. Shettima, who will embark on a one-day visit on Tuesday, will be hosted at the June 12 Cultural Center, Kuto, Abeokuta, and that the expanded National MSME Businesses Clinic is an initiative of the federal government executed in collaboration with state governments. The clinic, the government said, would allow small business owners to meet regulatory bodies like the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, Standards Organization of Nigeria, Corporate Affairs Commission, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, as well as other featured grant presentations to qualified MSMEs. Vice President Shettima will also unveil the Adaya shared facility at Asera Abeokuta. Those who accompanied the Vice President to the former President's residence included the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Bagudu, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Muhammad Abubakar, and former Governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, while the team later left for the Emir of Daura's palace, where the Vice President also briefly met the Royal Father. Agricultural and Rural Development Secretariat of the Federal Capital Territory Administration confirmed the looting of its warehouse in Dede by residents in the FCT over the economic hardship in the country. Confirming the incident, the ARD Secretariat Zakari Aliyu said the secretary had earlier visited the warehouse where the residents had looted everything in the store and vandalized the place, removing the roofs and windows. FCT Minister of State Dr. Maria Mahmood and the FCT Mandate Secretary, Agric Secretariat, Lawan Diadam, will again visit the facility on Monday, where more detailed information will be given regarding the incident. National Emergency Management Agency has denied the looting of its warehouse in Abuja, asserting that the warehouse in question does not belong to the agency. A statement by the NEMA press unit, which was shared on the agency's X account, said the National Emergency Management Agency has alleged that the agency's warehouse was looted by some hoodlums in Abuja. However, the agency sympathizes with owners of the looted facility, while the Director General, Mustafa Habib Ahmed, has directed zonal directors and heads of operations to strengthen security in and around the agency's offices and warehouses nationwide. Kaduna State Police Command has arrested one Bulas Danladi, a suspected human trafficker. The command spokesman ASP Mansour Hassan, who confirmed the arrest in Kaduna, said a complaint was lodged by Mrs. Jumai Danjuma and two others in Katari area in Kachia local government area of the state. Hassan also said out of the 5 youth trafficked to Kwara, 3 had returned home and reunited with their parents, while that efforts to trace the remaining 2 were going on, adding that the suspect would be prosecuted after full investigation. Police Command in Kaduna State has declared 39 computer-based test centers for the 2022 Nigeria Police Force recruitment. The recruitment is for police constables scheduled from March 5th to March 6th. The Command's Police Public Relations Officer, ASP Mansour Hassan, who disclosed the CBT examination centers in a statement in Kaduna, said the Command wished to notify residents of the state who applied for the 2022 police recruitment that the Police Service Commission in collaboration with the Nigeria Police Force that the process would be finalizing in the ongoing 2022 recruitment exercise nationwide. He also said the CBT for Kaduna State residents will take place from Tuesday, March 5th to Wednesday, March 6th at the specified venues, while the venue and examination center are divided into 4 centers, including the Kaduna Metropolis Center, which has 24 sub-centers. Zaria Center 10, Kafanchan Center has 2, and Silver Center has 3. Hassan said the Commissioner of Police in Kaduna State, Ali Dagbigi, has directed all area commanders, state intelligence departments, operatives, personnel from the Explosive Ordnance Department, and divisional police officers to locate and provide adequate security coverage for the centers within their jurisdiction. Troops of Joint Task Force northwest of Operation Hadarin Daji has rescued 2 kidnapped victims and killed 1 bandit in Zamfara State. The information officer of Operation Hadarin Daji, Lieutenant Omale Suleiman, who disclosed this, said that the operation was conducted by the courageous efforts of the troops at the Forward Operating Base, OPHG, Dan Marke, and explained that the operation, prompted by intelligence reports of bandits' movements near Cairo village, involved a swift response, resulting in a prolonged gun battle, forcing the bandits to retreat with injuries. According to him, Major General Godwin Mutkut, the general officer commanding A Division, commended the troops' gallant performance, urging them to sustain the momentum until peace was fully restored in the northwest. Katsina State Police Command has placed a 50 million naira bounty on 2 wanted alleged bandits, kingpins identified as Modi and Jan Kare. A special bulletin issued by the command spokesperson, ASP Abubakar Aliyu, said the wanted bandits were operating within Kankara and Samfana local government areas of the state. The police command had also ensured to protect the identity of whoever supplied the information leading to the arrest of the wanted bandits, while Governor Diko Rada, along with the State Police Commissioner Aliyu Musa, had also visited the community, where the governor implored the federal government to deploy more security personnel to the state to tackle security challenges. Benue State government says it banned political gatherings and meetings due to the looming insecurity in the state that compelled Governor Hyacinth Ale to take drastic measures. The state government said the ban covers all forms of intra-party and intergroup meetings in the north central state till further notice. Chief of Staff to the Governor, Paul Biam, who disclosed this, said the ban became necessary because of the volatility of the security atmosphere in Benue, while the security atmosphere became charged following what he described as the unprecedented influx of armed herdsmen into the state. The Chief of Staff, in his letter to the State Commissioner of Police, urged him to enforce the directive on the ban. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health and Human Services in Taraba, Zira Matthias Babanani, has confirmed an outbreak of Lassa fever in the state after an NYSC member from Damare Orientation Camp tested positive. This followed the release of an investigation on a sample taken from the corpse member by the National Reference Laboratory in Abuja, when she presented symptoms similar to that of Lassa fever by health workers in Modibo Adama University Teaching Hospital Yola. The state government has therefore advised members of the public to take necessary precautions by adhering to good hygiene and sanitation habits, and warned residents to avoid unnecessary contacts and ensure proper storage of leftover food and food items to prevent rat infestation. Bauchi Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission has cautioned food and essential commodities dealers in the state against hoarding and selling goods at unnecessary price hikes. Chairman of the agency, DIG Sani Usman Mohammed, who gave the warning during a meeting with officials of major dealers of foodstuff in the state, said such actions would not be tolerated as they could exacerbate hardships for the people. He also vowed to take action against those engaging in such practices, detailing plans to ensure accessibility and affordability of food items, and urged all merchants to collaborate in finding solutions to the high prices, especially for the benefit of the less privileged. Responding, the chairman of the Bauchi Traders and Artisans Association, Abdullahi Mohammed, urged members to refrain from hoarding and inflating prices or else face the wrath of the law. 1 week after the resolution of the Economic Community of West African States for all land borders between its member countries and the Niger Republic to be open, residents of the Ilela local government area of Sokoto State have appealed to the federal government for immediate action. The land borders were closed by ECOWAS following the military junt's seizure of power in a neighboring country, while a motorcyclist in Ilela community, Malam Nuhu Ilela, said the continued closure of the border had caused more hardship to the people of the community. Another resident, who identified himself as Mohammed, said it was necessary for the government to open the border without delay to allow free trade, adding that keeping the border closed was inimical to the survival of the people and had brought untold hardships to many families. Nigerian Navy has arrested 13 suspected crude oil thieves on board motor tanker Sweet Miri off the coast of Nigerian waters. The flag officer commanding Western Naval Commander Rear Admiral Mohammed Hassan confirmed the arrest, said that the motor tanker was filled with almost 2 million liters of products suspected to be crude oil and had no naval approval on board. The commander, Joint Task Force Operation Awase Southwest, said thorough investigations will be put in place to ensure that kingpins of crude oil theft were brought to book would be conducted. According to him, the launch of Operation Delta Sanity by the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, had further spurred naval men towards fighting crude oil theft with more vigor. Federal government has set up a data collection and registration center for data collection to consolidate vital information that would empower law enforcement agencies to respond swiftly and effectively to emerging threats is now fully functional. Minister of Police Affairs Senator Ibrahim Gaidam, who disclosed this during an opening ceremony at the West African Police Information System program in Abuja, said the DACOR is the heart of the progress in the system. Speaking through the director of the Police Service Department, the minister said key agencies of the government have fully embraced the WAPIS initiative, while others are gradually picking up, stressing that the agencies are now equipped with WAPIS terminal, allowing them to access critical information and significantly enhance the collective efforts to combat crime and maintain security. Responding to concerns regarding data protection and privacy, he said that Nigeria has recently passed into the law the National Data Protection Law 2023, while the legislative milestone demonstrates our commitment to safeguarding sensitive information while actively participating in the WAPIS program. The head of Politics, Press and Information Section, European Union, ECOWAS and Nigeria, Zissimos Vergos, congratulated Interpol and law enforcement agencies of the region for successfully managing the African Cup of Nations that received 3 million visitors, and WAPIS was actively involved in proper security at the event. Vegas appreciated the efforts of the Minister and the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Nasir Sani Gwazo, for uplifting the operation of WAPIS in Nigeria, adding that the data analytics and artificial intelligence are a new frontier of policy planning and regulation where major threats to stability that are transnational crime, cybersecurity, misinformation on social media, hacking drones and artificial intelligence, and the need for WAPIS officers to advance on policy planning and regulations, and urge civil society representatives to champion the cause of the program, encouraging it to be accountable to the benefit of the society. Earlier, the representative of the ECOWAS, head of the Regional Security Division, Directorate of Peacekeeping and Registration Security, Dr. Dieng Abdurrahman Mani, said the major challenge in fighting transnational organized crime in West Africa is the lack of appropriate infrastructure to collect, store and manage, analyze and share criminal data among the law enforcement agencies at the national and regional levels. General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, has recounted how he escaped death by the whiskers during his 82nd birthday. The cleric disclosed this on his 82nd birthday celebration held at the Redemption Camp, Kilometer 46, along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway in Ogun State. Adeboye said his former driver also admitted that the cleric and his wife escaped death in several accidents on the way to Ilorin, Kwara State, adding that the most frightening one was one in which their vehicle came face to face with a trailer that was coming at full speed on a narrow path by a bridge that had a river by its side. Adeboye appreciated the church members for celebrating him, praying that none of them would die young and that they would be greater than him. Federal government, through the Nigerian Bar Association, has commenced the prosecution of some staff members of the Independent National Electoral Commission and political party members indicted for various electoral offences. During the 2023 general elections, electoral officers remain a major threat to credible, free and fair elections in Nigeria, as they often heighten political tension. and trigger violence. Following the February 25, 2023 presidential and National Assembly elections, the immediate past Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, said over 700 offenders were arrested by men of the Nigeria Police Force for violating electoral laws, and INEC had on May 2, 2023, said it would prosecute 215 handed over to it out of the 774 persons arrested for various electoral offences by the Nigeria Police Force during the polls. The Commission also said it was partnering with the NBA, which offers pro bono legal services for the effective prosecution of the electoral offenders, and out of the 215 case files received by the Commission, 196 cases are electoral offences and are being handled by INEC and the NBA. The National Publicity Secretary, NBA Habib Lawal, said about 196 suspects, including INEC officials and members of political parties, were being prosecuted for various electoral offences, including vote buying, arms possession, and others committed during the 2023 poll, adding that the prosecution was being carried out in magistrates' court and the high courts of the states and the Federal Capital Territory. The Executive Director of the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, Awal Rafsanjani, stated that Nigeria would be free from election violence and corruption if electoral offenders were dealt with. And reacting to the development, a rights activist and Chancellor International Society for Social Justice and Human Rights, Jackson Omenazu, said since it had become the norm for electoral offenders to rob the citizens, deny them their rights as stated in the Electoral Act, and violates the electoral laws of the country, the arrested offenders should be severely punished irrespective of their personality. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We return after this break.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring honest pop news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now the rest of our stories. Two major opposition parties, the People Democratic Party and Labour Party, have faulted President Bola Tinubu's order on the full implementation of the 2012 Steve Orushanye recommendation, describing the move as ill-timed. This is coming after President Tinubu had announced plans to implement the Orushanye report, which proposes the merger of ministries, departments, and agencies as a measure to cut the cost of governance. The directive comes 12 years after former President Goodluck Jonathan had set up the Presidential Committee on Rationalization and Restructuring of the Federal Government Parastatals, Commissions and Agencies, and the committee, headed by former head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Steve Orushanye, had recommended the scrapping and merging of 220 out of the then existing 41 government agencies. Following the order for implementation, the House of Representatives has called on the President Tinubu to halt the process and thoroughly review it before going ahead with its execution, stating that the Orasanye Committee recommendations are outdated. The National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Debo Ologunaba, said the call for implementation was ill-timed, while the chief spokesman of the Labour Party campaign organization, Yunusa Tanko, said though the implementation was one of the action plans in the manifesto of Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, it is not an initiative that should be executed in a hurry, adding that the goal was not to cut down employment but to improve the efficiency of government services. Inspector General of Police has confirmed the Federal High Court in Abuja that the military forcefully took away some suspects allegedly involved in oil bunkering from police custody. Counsel to the IGP, Idris Mohammed, who disclosed this to Justice James Omotosho when the matter was called for the alleged oil bunkers to take their plea in a 5-count criminal charge filed against them. The IGP had in an earlier charge listed 19 alleged oil bunkerers for prosecution, while the police, in an amended charge dated and filed February 28, brought criminal charges against only MT Harbour Spirit, a vessel Mohammed Malik Siddiq, and Jojo Oil and Gas Limited as first to third defendants, respectively. The offence, according to the prosecution, is punishable under Section 1(7) of the Miscellaneous Offences Act, Cap M17 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. However, at the point of taking their plea, the IGP's lawyer, Mohammed, informed the court that Mohammed Malik Siddiq was the only defendant in court, and the lawyer prayed the court to issue warrant of arrest against the 4th to 19th defendants, who he alleged were at large. But Justice Omotosho faulted Mohammed for claiming that the 4th to 19th defendants were at large when he had earlier told the court that the armed forces forcefully took them away, and thereafter adjourned the arraignment of the alleged oil bunkers till March 6th. Senate says the National Assembly would need to revisit the 28.77 trillion naira 2024 budget. The Red Chamber explained that there was a need to revisit the budget following the incessant fall of the naira against the United States dollar. This is coming after the National Assembly had passed a harmonized 2024 budget appropriation bill totaling 28.77 trillion naira, which was eventually passed on January 1st by President Bola Tinubu and increased the bill by a total of 1.2 trillion, moving the budget from 27.5 trillion to 28.7 trillion. The Senate also benchmarked the exchange rate of 800 naira per dollar, moving it from the initial 750 naira per dollar initially pegged by the federal government. Submitting reasons for the increment in December, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation, Solomon Adiola, explained the current price of the dollar at the black market is between 1.2 and 1.3, and in the Central Bank of Nigeria it is between 950 and 1,000, and we have a budget which was pegged at 750. If you look at the gap, you'd realize that has covered a lot of gaps already. He also said there will be need for a supplementary budget or reallocation of some projects within the budget. House of Representatives Committee on Financial Crimes has called for the Chief Executive of Binance Holding Limited, Richard Teng, over alleged involvement in terrorism, financing, and money laundering. The chairman of the committee, Jinja Onwusibe, who issued a 7-day ultimatum to the management of Binance Holdings Limited to appear before the committee on or before March 4, 2024, and warned that the committee would be forced to invoke the constitutional powers vested in the committee to take appropriate measures if Binance Holdings failed to heed the summon. Onwusibe decried the refusal of the chief executive of Binance Holding Limited, Teng, to appear after a series of invitations to brief the committee relating to the total disregard for extant laws governing business and financial operations in the country, while the committee had summoned the managing director of Binance in a letter dated 12th December 2023 and signed by its chairman, Onwusibe, requesting a hearing on the 18th of December 2023. This is coming after Binance, an online exchange where users dealing cryptocurrency has been flagged by the Central Bank of Nigeria to have been involved in money laundering, among others. And now to some business news. President Bola Tinubu says Nigerian youths are worthy of every investment as they are educated, reliable and proactive. Tinubu disclosed this when he visited the Emir of the State of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, to the signing of 7 landmark agreements between both nations after closed-door talks at the Presidential Palace in Doha. The 7 agreements signed are a cooperation agreement in the field of education, regulation of employment of workers with the government of Qatar towards the establishment of a joint business council between the Qatar Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Nigerian Associate of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, in addition to a cooperation agreement in the field of youth and sports. The other agreements are cooperation in the field of tourism and business events and a memorandum of understanding combating illicit trade in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, while the special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuru Ngelale, said in a statement he signed Sunday titled President Tinubu welcomes multi-sectoral agreements with Qatar, set to receive Qatar's investment team in Abuja, stating that at the signing ceremony, President Tinubu assured his host of Nigeria's preparedness to welcome investors into the country, including the reforms that favor innovation, return on investment, and multiculturalism. He commended the Qatari government for its developmental mileage, saying they have seen clearly the rapid pace and thorough quality of Qatar's development process, and it is impossible not to be moved by what they have accomplished. The Emir of the State of Qatar stressed that Qatar is open to President Tinubu's investment push, stressing that he traveled to Nigeria in 2019 owing to his belief that Nigeria is an important and strategic ally on its own and within the context of its role in regional affairs, adding that both countries must meet each other halfway in terms of follow-up efforts to make the partnership work. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu has probed the Chief Executive of Abuja Electricity Distribution Company and Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company over the worsening power supply in their regions. Managing Director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, Sule Abdulaziz, was also probed over the deteriorating power situation across the country since January this year, stressing that the power supply situation nationwide has gone from bad to worse since this year owing to the over $1 billion indebtedness to gas producers who provide gas required for running the thermal gas-fired power plants. Also, there have been a series of vandalism of transmission towers in various parts of the country, leading to grid disturbance and incessant drops in the transmission of electricity across the country. Worried by the development, Adelabu, in a letter signed by the Director of Distribution Services at the Federal Ministry of Power, B.U. Mustafa, ordered the CEOs of the DISCOs and TCN to attend a meeting called by the Minister in the coming week. A statement by Bolaji Tunji, Special Advisor, Strategic Communications and Media Relations to the Minister, quoted Adelabu as saying that the management of other non-performing discos would also be queried over non-performance as reports continue to filter in on the situation in their regions, and directed TCN to immediately commence repair works on the damaged transmission towers and power lines to improve supply in the affected regions. Federal government has restated its commitment to enhance Nigeria's participation in the global technology trade over the next 4 years. The Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, who stated this at the closing of the 11th meeting of the National Council on Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, held at the Coronation Hall, Government House in Kano State, said the primary goal of the President's administration under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu was to enhance Nigeria's participation in the global technology trade over the next 4 years. He also said the federal government has identified 9 priority policies for review, including Nigeria's national broadband plan, the national policy on digital public infrastructure, and the national policy on telecommunications, adding that other details were included in a 31-page blueprint document presented in October 2023 by the Minister, which outlined the Ministry's intentions for harnessing the transformative power of digital technology and innovation to boost the national economy. The Minister said the federal government was also committed to building the critical infrastructure required to power a strong digital economy. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a lawsuit against President Bola Tinubu over the failure to probe the grim allegations that $3.4 billion loan obtained by Nigeria from the International Monetary Fund to finance the budget and respond to COVID-19 is missing, diverted, or unaccounted for. The allegations are contained in the recently published 2020 Nigeria's annual audited report by the Auditor General of the Federation. In the suit at the Federal High Court, Abuja, Serap is asking the court to direct and compel President Bola Tinubu to probe the allegations that $3.4 billion loan obtained by Nigeria from the IMF to finance the budget and respond to COVID-19 is missing, diverted, or unaccounted for. Serap is also seeking an order of mandamus to direct and compel President Tinubu to ensure the effective prosecution of anyone suspected to be responsible for the alleged mismanagement and diversion of the $3.4 billion IMF loan obtained by Nigeria to finance the budget and respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, according to Serap. Servicing IMF loan that is allegedly missing, diverted, or unaccounted for is double jeopardy for Nigerians, can neither see nor benefit from the projects for which the loan was approved, and they are made to pay back both the loan and accrued interest. Serap also stressed that unless the president is directed and compelled to get to the bottom of these damning revelations, suspected perpetrators would continue to enjoy impunity for their crimes and enjoy the fruits of their crimes. Now to international tidbits. Pakistan's newly formed parliament has elected Shehbaz Sharif as prime minister for a second term. He defeated a rival supported by jailed former prime minister Imran Khan, and the move comes 3 weeks after an inconclusive general election that was marred by allegations of intimidation and vote rigging. In his victory speech, Mr. Sharif said that as no side had a clear parliamentary majority, it is a democratic way that like-minded parties may form a coalition government. After the assembly was dissolved last August, Pakistan was led by its caretaker government, while Imran Khan was jailed in the run up to the 6 February election and barred from standing. Mediators and Hamas have arrived in the Egyptian capital, Cairo, for talks on a new ceasefire, as Israel is reported to be demanding reassurances on the hostages' fate before attending. An unnamed U.S. official said Israel has more or less accepted the deal, while Israel said Hamas is refusing to say which of its hostages are still alive, so Israel would not attend. The U.S. says the 6 weeks pause will see the release of more Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners, and pressure for a deal intensified after Thursday's incident outside Gaza City in the north of the territory, where at least 112 people were killed as crowds rushed an aid convoy. Hamas has accused Israel of shooting at civilians as they attempted to get food, while Israel has denied that an initial review had concluded that Israeli troops had shot against several individuals who approached them, but that most of the deaths were caused by the crush of the people. Egyptian officials who have been running the talks with Qatar said delegations from both Hamas and Israel were expected to attend the negotiations. Donald Trump has won a string of Republican presidential contests on Saturday, edging closer to becoming the party's candidate in November election as he attacked his likely opponent Joe Biden. The former president won the Missouri, Michigan, and Idaho caucuses comprehensively, continuing his clean sweep of states so far, while supporters at a rally in Virginia said he was on a rocket to the Republican nomination and on track to secure it next week. His last remaining rival in the race, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, said is still seeking her first victory and is without a clear path to the nomination given Mr. Trump's commanding lead. He is projected to win all of the delegates available in Missouri and all in Idaho, while a third of delegates in that state were awarded earlier this week after a primary that Mr. Trump won. In the Virginia capital of Richmond on Saturday, thousands queued for several hours to hear Mr. Trump speak, and he vowed to win big when 15 states will choose their presidential candidates on a day that could put him within striking distance of the nomination. Now to sports. Dreams FC head coach Abdul Karim Zito speaks positive a favourable result against Rivers United. The Steel believe occupies the top spot in Group C with 12 points from 5 games. Zito's men must, however, plan to avoid defeat against the former Nigeria Premier Football League champions to scale through the quarter-finals, and they are positive ahead of the tie and are confident of scaling through the hurdle. Bayelsa United head coach Meremu Okara has applauded his players. Despite the defeat against Roma Stars, the Prosperity Boys suffered a 1-0 loss against the Sky Blue Stars in the matchday 23 fixtures on Saturday, while Adams Olamilekan scored a decisive goal in the second half of the game at the Roma Stars Stadium at Ikene. Okara said the players showed perseverance and determination in the game and also urged the team to look ahead to their next game in the league. Bayelsa United are 14th on the league table with 27 points. Now to entertainment. Veteran Nollywood actor Jide Kosoko has postponed his 70th birthday celebration due to the economic hardship in Nigeria. Kosoko, who turned 70 on January 12th, said he appreciates his colleagues and fans who came up with the idea of celebrating his contributions to the industry while he was still alive. This is coming after Waisu Ayinde, aka K1 The Ultimate, also recently cancelled his birthday celebration due to the current economic hardship in the country. 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has described the death of Nollywood actor John Okafor, popularly known as Mr. Ibu, as a big loss. Atiku said Mr. Ibu will be sorely missed because he entertained people during his lifetime. Posting on X, the former vice president said the death of actor and comedian John Okafor, popularly known as Mr. Ibu, and ex-goalkeeper of the Super Falcons, Bidemi Aluko Olaseni, is a big loss to our creative and sports industries. Mr. Ibu died on Saturday after suffering a cardiac arrest, while this followed the amputation of one of his legs due to an infection. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has mourned the death of veteran Nollywood actor John Okafor, popularly called Mr. Ibu. In a condolence message posted on his formerly Twitter handle, Obi stated that Mr. Ibu's death was a huge loss, not just to the entertainment industry, but to the nation. He also described his death as very saddening, stating that he was one legendary comic actor who embodied laughter, exuded joy, and spread happiness. His death came barely 24 hours after another actor, Kadiri Oyebamji, aka Sisi Kadiri, passed away in Osun State. Famous Nollywood actress Kate Henshaw has lost her mother. The president of the Actors Guild of Nigeria, Emeka Rollas, disclosed this in a post on his official Instagram page. Rollas, in his post, described the passage of Henshaw's mother as a sad day for the AGN. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara preaches peace. Governor Mba signs new master plan bills into law. FG sets up police data centers to tackle insecurity. Nigeria, Qatar sign agreement on education solid minerals. Shehbaz Sharif is second-term Prime Minister of Pakistan. Dreams FC boss hopeful against Rivers United. Jide Kosoko postpones 70th birthday celebration over hardship. I am Valentina Lawrence. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on all our social media platforms: X Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram, Atlantic TV Network. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you. Have a lovely night.